that given all that I've had the good fortune to learn from my dad, my teachers, and my professors, my mentors in the business world, and from my many experiences throughout my business career, I felt confident that I could make a big difference to help the team succeed. Since joining Red Robin, we came together to face the brutal facts and take a hard look at exactly where we stood when measured against our best-in-class competitors. This transparent confrontation with reality jolted and sobered a team with a proud tradition of winning and a culture that is unique and highly valued. When the team collectively realized that both of these precious legacies were at risk through lack of performance, and with lack of performance, you fundamentally lose freedom of action, they were galvanized into action. When it became clear that results, and not simply activity, were what counted, they focused with purpose and passion. This renewed commitment to Red Robin's cultural values, enhanced by a focus on accountability and innovation and results, were critical drivers of our performance improvement. Not only am I encouraged by what our team has accomplished over the last several months, I'm pleased to see the lessons I've learned in the past paying off in so many different ways to help Red Robin get where it needs to go. The importance of constantly developing yourself and your capabilities, the strength of a positive culture, the rewards that come from taking thoughtful risks, failing fast to succeed faster, and always listening to the people on the front lines who know what's going on. And of course, the values that are stitched onto every sleeve of every Red Robin team member, especially making sure we're having fun. While all of us at Red Robin have more work ahead of us to accomplish our long-term objectives, we're encouraged by the traction we've gotten so far, but we still have a lot of opportunity to go. As I said, our goal isn't just to be better, but it's to be great, to be a best-in-class restaurant company. And I'm confident that we can do it. We've got a great team at Red Robin, not only that the team shares my confidence, but also has a passion to win. And as we say all the time at work, we believe in Red Robin. Thanks for listening. I'll be happy to take some questions. That wraps up my formal remarks. Hi. We've got a cross-functional team that looks at that on an ongoing basis, balancing what we know is important to our guests and to the environment with the cost side. And certain things make a lot of sense. This environmentally friendly kids cup we put in place. We're testing energy management systems, which means we computerize all of our HVAC and electrical functions, and we then manage them from a central location. And if there's a variance in the performance of those systems, it shows up on the computer screen, and we can see what's going on. And to give you a level of an idea of what that means is we can watch, literally, and tell when the back door of a restaurant had been left open because the cleaning crew had left it open because they wanted a little air in there. And we saw a spike in both AC costs and electrical costs, allowing us to call the restaurant back and go, hey, close the back door, among other things. So we have a team looking at that full time. And we also have, on the development side, folks looking at LEED certification for our new units.
And how do you disseminate that information to your internal customers and external customers?
Well, externally, we use every chance we have to talk to shareholders and third parties on our conference calls or when I talk to analysts. Internally, we use our same communication flow that we have set up for both franchise partners and team members, which is a combination of emails, voicemails, meetings. Sure. Yes.
How about customer satisfaction? How did you find it? What is it now? And did you have to make any changes in the menu or the process?
Sure. We use a third-party guest satisfaction service called Empathica, and every guest gets an invitation to call and report on their experience at Red Robin, both by the server ideally. There's an insert in the check presenter, and then on the bottom of their receipt, there's a toll-free number. And when they call that number, they go through a series of questions that give us a pretty granular idea of how they thought their experience went against the 5 or 6 key drivers we know drive guest satisfaction. We get about 30 to 50 pieces of guest feedback per restaurant per month. And so if you do the math, we get tens of thousands of pieces of guest feedback a year. So we get a real statistically reliable and valid perspective about what's working and what's not working. We then take that information, we look at the performance of the top 20% of the restaurants, and we score them green. We look at the performance of the bottom 20% of the restaurants, and we score them red. Everybody else in the middle is yellow. And we publish that scorecard by restaurant. We roll it up to multi-unit supervisor monthly. And so when we go into the restaurant, I can go to their scorecard, and if I want to focus on guest satisfaction, I can look at their progress month to month and see if they're green, which means they're doing a really good job, if they're yellow or improving, or if they're red, which means they've got a big issue. We do the same thing with another service called Team Member Voice, because we think it's really important to understand how our hourly and management employees feel, and we do that on a twice-a-year, semi-annual basis. Yes? The question was, what's Red Robin doing as regards to what's going on in Washington from a business standpoint? Well, we first of all are an avid and active member of the Colorado Restaurant Association, the National Restaurant Association, and the Chambers of Commerce. They are great tools for us to carry the message and represent all of us in a way that doesn't expose any individual company or brand to retaliation. And if you know, and I've got stories on that one if you'd like to hear them, we don't have time. But that's really important to join an organization like that. We also use a lobbying firm in Washington, D.C., independent of those, who represents folks that serve alcohol, because as you know, that's a major hot button for activists, to represent and make sure the facts about alcohol usage, responsible alcohol usage, get out there. And again, in a way that protects all the brands that are working with them. Yes, sir? The question was, did I do any reshaping of my senior management team along the way? When I came to Red Robin, I told all of my folks that I'm going to work with them for a while to see how they perform and how they meet the challenges that we presented. But one of the things the board brought me in to do was to be a change agent across all elements of the business. And in that respect, after about 9 months, I recently made 2 changes to my senior team to make sure I had the right people on the bus in the right seats to get the job done. So I have had some turnover in my senior team, and that trickles down, of course. If this is a walk-the-talk issue, right? If I'm talking about change and getting the right people on the bus in the right seats, yet I don't take that action, that speaks volumes to the managers down through the organization. Yes?
Dave Drzezinski from SUNY Oneonta. The question I have for you as hospitality educators, I think we have some potential managers for you. What programs or what message can we take back to our students to say, hey, Red Robin's is a company to look for or look at?
Well, there's a couple ways to talk about that. You know, what message can you take back to your students about Red Robin as a great company? I think people like to work for winners, number one. I think that as we look at the generation you folks are teaching right now, very different from everything I read and experience from previous generations. They want a voice. They want to be listened to. They want to work for a place that respects their opinions. And so at Red Robin, we have a culture around that. The real way we talk about it, and Red Robin's talked about this a long time, is that when I came, everybody told me that what Red Robin stood for was we take care of our team members. And then they take care of the guests. And then the shareholders win. And having been around 30 years, I had a relatively cynical perspective of that when I came on board. They don't say that at PepsiCo, by the way. But when I got into the organization, I was very pleasantly surprised by how they tried to live that value of taking care of the team member first so that they would take care of the guest. Now, there were a couple problems with that. They spent a lot of time taking care of the team member, but the guest voice thing got a little bit delinked. And the shareholder car got left around the bend. So you've got to make sure all those things are coupled to make sure that that's working. So the other message I'd say is, Red Robin is a company that specializes and dedicates itself to taking care of team members, both in the jobs they're in and providing opportunities to them going forward. And one of the benefits we're receiving there, as all of the industry is under massive margin pressure with very fragile consumer behavior out there, the first things to go, of course, are what? Recognition, rewards, training, the cultural lodestones that keep people in organizations. And as I talk to the team and I help them understand that the beautiful part about our culture that is so valued is going to go the way of other of our competitors who have made those kinds of changes if we don't get our financial results sorted out. And that was another very engaging kind of challenge I gave to the team. And they took that. They feel good about their culture. They don't want to lose their rewards and recognitions programs. They want to lose our focus on the team member. And so consequently, they're energized to get the job done from a result standpoint.